but maybe it's. Yeah. Is it all?
So at our new, at the new building, are we gonna have all of our own stuff, or will we still have to incur the expense of?
We have stuff. It will actually be
And
set
set
up.
set up.
So, you know, I was just thinking of this.
Not
too.
that-
You guys believe to be. Well, people pick their teeth on those stairs. Yes and no. I mean, or.
Good afternoon. I'll call, the November 13th Children's Trust of Alachua County Regular Board Meeting to order. Will the clerk, please call the roll?
Present.
Here.
Here.
He's online, present.
I can barely hear y'all.
All right. He's giving us some audio, now. Is that better, Lee?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we need an in-person, we need 5 in person to have a quorum, and we've met that. We have. I'm here. Here. Thank you, here. I'm sorry, I thought you. So thank you. We have our in-person quorum, and we have 2 members that are online with extraordinary circumstances. So for that, we will, who's online besides Lee?
Yeah.
He's probably gonna join.
Yeah, he's logging in. We're resending him the link. It looks like he's there.
Hey, guys, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Welcome. Due to the extraordinary circumstances, the board deems, due to the circumstances which, medical that the 2 members, member Cornell and Pinkerson, have shared, that's, we deem that extraordinary. Can I have a motion to allow both members?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
the board needs to know what the extraordinary standards, circumstances are, so they can make a finding that the circumstances are
Okay.
exceptional.
So it is medical, and they both have COVID or exposure to COVID.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. You guys can participate and vote. If you, my back is to the monitor, as you all have seen in the past, so please speak up on Ashley or, so one of the other board members, if you all see me, help me, please, all right?
Did we actually?
Thank you.
We had a motion and a second, but do we vote? We need to vote?
I thought, oh, okay, so we had a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye. You're moving us through today.
Come back to me. Thank y'all. Thank you, Judge. for the- okay. All right, so at this time, we have, we've had our roll call and our agenda. Is there any one thing on the consent agenda anyone needs to move before we adopt our agenda? Would like to move? Okay, seeing none. Can I get a motion to approve our agenda and the consent agenda as presented? Is there a second?
Awesome.
Okay, motion by member Andrews, Lieutenant Andrew, second by member Twombly, that we adopt our agenda today as presented. Is there any discussion, board, any public input? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, motion passes. This time now, we provide a space for general public comment for items that are not on our agenda. Members of the public wishing to address the trust may come to the podium. Please identify yourself and you have 3 minutes with the board.
Good afternoon. I'm Christy Arrington, Executive Director of Girls Place. And I just want to thank the team for Lights On After School. We were able to bring our girls out there. Sorry, the stairs. We were able to get our girls out there last minute, which I'm really grateful for, because we were unsure on a school day if we'd be able to get out to High Springs. But the kids felt so spoiled by you all. And so I'm really grateful for that. And Ms. Certain, thank you for getting the hayride moving. They were waiting and waiting, and they're so patient. And Ms. Certain was like, can we get going on this hayride? And we probably saw like 20 deer on our trip out there. So thank you all very much for that opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing the girls out. I know that was kind of a challenge getting everybody out there to the event, but it was a good event. Ashley, are we taking phone calls? So is there any other public comment? Okay, seeing none. So under the chair's report, I was going to report that if the lights on after school event was very well put together by the staff. Want to thank the staff. Want to thank Lee, Member Peterson, for grilling all those hot dogs for everybody.
My pleasure. Y'all are still probably eating them.
Yeah, so they can't say we weren't well prepared and didn't have enough to food for everyone to go around. It was, and Camp Alachua was a beautiful facility. Hadn't been out there since my kids were little, so probably 20 years since I've been out there to it. Now I noticed they have heat and hot water. I mean, they always have hot water, but I mean, they have heat in the cabins. It looks like they didn't have heat in the cabins when I was last year, when we last camp there, but it's a beautiful facility if anyone is thinking of hosting a meeting or partaking in the summer camp activities that they have. My kids went out for a week way back when, like I said, I think they were probably late elementary, maybe early middle school. So it's been a while since we've been out there, but it was a challenge to get them out there because it is so far, but it's a beautiful facility. They enjoyed the swimming, all the activities. So I think it was good to showcase another resource that we have in our community for parents to, when they offer summer things, it kind of would have been a good if more kids had been able to see that and see what they had to offer. I hate we didn't get over to the petting zoo, so I'd like to hear a report from someone who did that because we weren't able to get into that. But the hayride was really nice. Saw a lot of wildlife out moving around in this habitat. So, and also excited about how we can improve that. I don't know if our executive director spoke with the folks at Leon County. They did something as well, and they invited in providers, people that serve students, and they kind of had like a little round robin thing like that. So you might reach out to them with how they did that. So I thought it was pretty interesting how they did that. So, but good event. Thank you all for the effort. I know it was a lot of work for just a couple hours. So thank you all for having a good showing for that. And that's all I have.
Madam Chair, did you all approve the consent agenda?
We did it with.
Okay, I missed it. All right, then it's my turn. Well, you stole a little bit of my thunder. I echo you. I thought we had a great event. We had about 72 children in attendance, 92 guests. Deeper Purpose Academy. A huge thank you to Pastor Joy for his assistance with the program. He was our co-host for the event. And then just a thank you to Girls Place, Christy, and the Boys and Girls Club. We knew that it would be a challenge, but we wanted to showcase and have an opportunity to go out into some of the other communities because we tend to do everything here in Gainesville. So thank you for being a team player and coming on out to High Springs. Just can't thank the county enough for their proclamation. The High Springs mayor, city, the police department, the Early Learning Coalition, and the office of Senator Perry also came out and was there to support us for the event. And then certainly I have to say to my team, Elizabeth Kaysen, Ashley Morgan Daniel, and then everybody else who just jumped in and said, hey, what can we do? Thank you, because you can't do anything without everybody being a part of the process. So thank you guys for joining in. And then Board Member Pinkerton, again, you rock for bringing that big old grill to standing out there and doing all the cooking for us. Thank you. The other item I'd like to highlight from October was our Business Leadership Institute for Early Learning Recruitment event. We held our community conversation on the business of childcare, and we had a dinner with owners and directors That was on October 12th at Sweetwater Branch. A thank you to Sweetwater. This was their, I believe, second year, Mia, hosting, third year hosting us. For that, thank you to the Chamber, Ian Fletcher, the board chair, Tammy Prince of the Early Learning Coalition. I'm probably gonna butcher Sherry's name, but Sherry McMullen Bouchin, with school readiness, the VP K coordinator and manager at the Early Learning Coalition, and of course, Robin Perlman and her team at BLI. Really just everybody. When we do something, everybody jumps in and in some way contribute. So thank you to everybody. Cohort number 3. Mia told me to remind everybody, kicks off in January, and they will meet the 4th Saturday of every month, starting at the end of January. And we will remind you all, because we would love for any of the board members who would like to stop by on one of those Saturdays to see what we do during those workshops. So I think, no, one more update, building update.
Yes.
I saved potentially the best for last. We have a closing date, Monday, the 20th. We will close on our new facility and we will have keys. So I am excited beyond excitement. We had a great meeting with the county's facilities director, Dan Whitcraft, who is awesome. We are going to, and in your packet, you will see our interlocal agreement with the county. That one that hopefully you all will approve today is tied to our benefits, IT, what else am I missing? Our attorney, who has been wonderful. So we didn't want to hold this one up, but we will be coming back to you with an amendment so that we can add on some additional services that the county will assist us with moving forward in our new facility. It doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel when you have people who do this on a regular and who are willing to help you. I cannot express how grateful I am to our county counterparts for taking our calls and being willing to help us with this process. They have been wonderful to us. So we will come back to you with an additional update to this, the current interlocal. I think that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I have just one question.
Yes.
I know the closing date's been set, and I was wondering if we had a date. I know the purchasers of this building here. So do you have like a move date or a tentative date?
I left that out. So the tentative date will be February 1st.
Wow, so we have that much time?
Yes.
Okay, we do. Okay. I was thinking y'all were gonna be trying to pack up and get moved. Honestly, in December or January, honestly. So.
I was stressed out. The new owners of this building, Mr. Romero has been wonderful in communicating with us, willing to work with us. And so I can't say enough about him. And so we're working together to ensure that they can get in. I think they technically don't need to be in until the end of March. And we think that we can be out by the 1st of February.
Okay. So sounds good. Good. You don't have to do a really quick turnaround. Because I was thinking when I read the date in the packet, I was like, oh, they may be working like Thanksgiving and Christmas, into the, just packing up everything to try to get really going or whatever. So good. Thank you for that. Anyone else have any comments or any empathy to our executive director's report? All right, seeing none, we have 2 presentations today that are on our agenda. Teams Works, Alachua, evaluation results and recommendations. Staff person is Bonnie Wagner and Dion. Is it Carruthers? Never knew your last name. I said, I never knew your last name. I mean, I never like to say it because we always just say Dion.
He's just known as Dion.
Dion,
Like,
right, Dion.
the research planning and evaluation coordinator, and Dion is.
So Bonnie, I know we could not hear you. I could barely hear you. So would you repeat everything you just said? Because you
Oh,
weren't at the mic.
My name is Bonnie Wagner. I'm the research planning and evaluation coordinator. I'm gonna be starting us off, and Dion is going to be closing us out. So we're gonna be presenting year 2 evaluation results for the Teens Work Alachua program. The benefits of youth employment programs are well documented. The research shows that it supports career exploration and preparation. It prevents delinquency, and it helps to prevent violence among youth, which is aligned with our strategic goals. Violent crime in Alachua County is a significant concern, and youth arrest rates in violent crime in Alachua County significantly outpace the state overall. And we also know that teens do struggle and need support entering the workforce. So Teens Work was designed to help provide a positive outlet for youth to explore and develop their career aspirations while simultaneously deterring them from negative influences. And what I have up on the slide here is our logic model kind of explaining our why, how it's aligned with our goals and strategies, and all the inputs, activities, and outputs, short-term outcomes that we desired for this program to have. And this was what we developed from the very start of the program as we put out the RFP in December 2021. So now we're in year 2 of Teens Work Alachua. On this slide gives some highlights of the program model. The model is 6 to 8 weeks of employment that over the summer, with teens able to work up to 25 hours per week. To start, before they start their employment, they get 8 hours of pre-employment work readiness training, and then over the course of the summer, they had the opportunity to get an additional 2 hours of training with their job coaches. And this includes financial literacy. The job coach support and mentoring was both for the teens and for the employers, so they would be well supported in the experience. And then they also had the opportunity to establish a bank account and set up direct deposit. The demographic characteristics of our Teens Work youth. The large majority of teens served were Black or African American. As compared to last year, it was slightly lower than last year, which was at 93%. We saw a higher percentage of multiracial white and Asian children in year 2. We also saw a higher percentage of Hispanic, which is only at 6%, but the prior year it was only at 3%. And we're seeing more females than males this year, as consistent with last year. One thing is that Teens Work participants are younger. So the most of our children are aged, average age of 15.2, with a lot of kids being in the lower end of the spectrum, of the age spectrum that we serve. And this year we saw that there was a good amount of kids that repeated from summer 2022. So 26% of kids had participated in the previous summer. And last year, well, we see here that 70% indicated this was their first job this year. That number last year was 95%. A lot of that 70%, the reason it went down is because there was teens that came back for a second year, although we still see that the teens are still young. So it's majority of the kids are younger. We have the majority of our kids are from Gainesville, 2/3 are from Gainesville, but one thing that was great this year is we did see that we were getting more out to the rural areas. And as compared to last year, where we had 82% of our teens were in Gainesville, this year we saw 67%. And to go along with that, and what really helped us do that was that there were more work sites in the rural areas in year 2. So to the left, that shows the dots where we had work sites in year 1. And then to the right, we see that we have entered into Hawthorne more, High Springs, Micanopy, and more work sites in Archer as well. So our employers, we had And I wasn't able to fit all the logos on this slide, but we had a variety of employers. There was 62 organizations, or there was 49 organizations, 62 work sites, because some organizations had multiple locations that they provided for. And it was a mix of government, nonprofit, for-profit, and just a really interesting variety of employers and across the county, different areas of opportunity for youth to experience and explore career options. One of the key accomplishments this year, in addition to getting out into more rural areas, was that teens were retained at a higher rate. They were able to work more hours on average than last year. So in summer 2022, we had an average of 103 hours across our teens, and then this year it moved up to 134 hours. The number of youth that were working 100+ hours was 90% this year, as compared to 67% that last year. So the total possible hours they could work was 150. So the teens are getting closer to completing the whole program, or all the possible hours that they could have worked. So next few slides gets into some of the performance measures, some of the goals that we had set out targets for and wanted to measure to see how the program was doing. So the first one is our how much questions, which focuses on quantity of efforts. So there's the first column shows the description of what it is, and then there's a target that we set, and then how we actually did. So the ones that are in the darker blue shades are ones that we surpassed. The ones that are in the lighter blue shade are ones that we didn't quite meet the mark on. And some areas of important lessons learned in terms of where we could focus more efforts on improving the program for others for the coming year, where we'll talk about. And you'll see the commonalities as I go through some other slides, but the training is an area of opportunity, job coach support, and training to the worksite supervisors. Some strengths, as I mentioned, was the average hours worked by teens and the attendance at events. We came really close to the number of approved work sites. Again, we want to see more work sites, more employment opportunities in the next year. And in the bottom of the slide, the visual print shows the flow from applicants to who actually got to that second level where they were approved, and then how many teams were actually hired versus employers that actually had teams in their sites, because there is sort of a funnel when it came to the process of that. For the how well, these are measures for the quality, or the percentage of engagement and satisfaction with the program. Again, we really wanted to get more focus out in the rural areas. To a large extent, we feel like we did that. And then retaining teens in the program, we definitely surpassed that target by a good amount. We definitely compared to last year as well. Work sites receiving in-person visits, again, that site support, we wanted to see that as an area of improvement, as well as the youth receiving in-person meetings with their job coach. What we discovered from that is that there was contact going on, there was support happening, but it wasn't always in person. So while there was the work sites on average received 3.2 visits, there was also support that was going on that was phone calls and emails and other types of support. So that's why I also shared the chart at the bottom that shows there's a variety of different ways. So that's an important lesson learned, to measure that more broadly, because when the teens reported that they felt like they were supported, 95% of teens did report that they did feel like they received satisfaction with the support they received from their job coach. For our better off, I think one of the key benefits and what teens actually signed up for the program to do was to gain valuable work experience. And 98% of teens felt like that was something that they were able to gain from the program. And they were also able to earn the amount of money that was also a driver for why teens wanted to participate in the program. They wanted to earn money. So they were able to earn on average $1,471 for their efforts. One area, and then the areas that we fell short was in our pre-post assessments. So the pre-post assessment was changed a bit from year 1 to year 2. We changed the scale of the assessment was changed from a different Likert scale, and the timing of the assessment was changed to being administered pre-employment. So the teens, seems like from what the program staff said, felt very influenced to look good on their pre-assessment. They strongly agreed that they knew everything. But when it comes to doing the post, then the change is not really able to go up anymore. So this was, in my opinion, a social desirability effect of where the teens wanted to look good to try to get the better job, and it really made our outcomes not look so great. And we are it's another area of improvement to make sure that the assessment timing is right and that the participants understand what we're using this information for. That this is not part of the hiring process. We just want to know what you know, and we want to see if we can support you to get your knowledge to and your confidence increased over the course of the program. Number 3 in the work readiness skills was something we introduced this summer, and that was supervisors would do a rating of the youth. And so sometimes teens might perceive their skills differently than what the employer might. So we wanted to measure this in a variety of ways, but we didn't get enough matched responses from the supervisors. So the supervisors, I think we need to also approach a strategy in getting the supervisors to report on their teens more robustly. So again, another area, an important lesson learned from this past summer. This slide displays the youth perspectives. The teens had very, very high satisfaction. There was very few items that was below, like I think the lowest one on the slide is 94%. They were very satisfied with the different areas of the program, the support, the feedback from their work supervisor. We had a few open-ended questions where they felt like the program has really helped them gain the work experience, the connections, and the sense of responsibility. The supervisor perspectives, we didn't have as good a participation from the supervisors this year as compared to last, and their satisfaction rates were a little bit lower than in the previous year. I think having and I'll talk more about this when we get to the actions already underway, but having more staff and earlier onboarding is definitely something that we want to consider, or that we plan to do for this coming year. And I think another interesting thing to note about the supervisors and the ones that sign up is their reasons for coming in the program, that they're very motivated by wanting to help teens and wanting to help prepare them for the future, keep them safe. So a lot of alignment between what we want to do and what the employers are seeking. So to recap, these are kind of a recap of the key highlights of our program results. The work sites, the teams hired, the trainings, the hours clocked in the community, their average earnings, and the support from the job coaches. Our successes is getting out there more in the rural areas, that teens are being retained at a much higher rate. They're very satisfied with the programs. And I think in terms of looking at those most important outcomes, the work experience, preparing for future jobs and skills that will benefit them, nearly all of the teens reported that that was something the program helped them do. And the employers also concurred with that finding. Areas of improvement are starting earlier and providing more training for both teens and employers. Some teens said that they would, and some employers said that they would like the opportunity to, as far as the best fit was an area that employers said that they would like to have an opportunity to pick their team or have an interview opportunity with their teams, and teams wanted more of an opportunity to pick their employers. They more job coach support for both teams and employers. So again, tracking of that and looking at that in different ways. And in refining the assessments to ensure the participant awareness of the purpose of these assessments to limit the social desirability bias and increase response rates, because those were areas that we wanted to see improved upon. So again, this kind of recaps some of what I've shared. And some of the things that we've done to start to already to work on that is some of the teams work positions will be year-round now versus part-time and temporary. It was hard for a key challenge for teams work this program year was, and the first one was to helping to attract quality staff, given this is a part-time temporary position that would go away after the summer, and getting good people to come when those are the terms is a challenge. And so it also helps them build longer standing relationships with employers in the community and with the teens. So, you know, the teens wanted more program, they wanted to stay connected. So that also helps the teams work to be able to do that. The training for the employers and teens starting earlier, more robust onboarding, again, having staff around earlier and starting earlier will help us do that. And then in addition to the 8 hours of pre-employment training, there'll be 6 hours scattered throughout the summer versus just 2. And instead of it being optional this year, it would be mandatory for them to really bolster that career readiness and financial literacy pieces. And the more job coach support for teams and employers, again, we saw that the in-person maybe doesn't have to be every single week for the teams and the employers, but wanting to examine the different ways that support is being given, because you know, I think we kind of have our interest in seeing them do face-to-face. Sometimes more things will come out in an in-person conversation, but we definitely want to be open to examining different ways that that's happening. And then my support, we've already been meeting to discuss the evaluation results on several occasions, but helping to implement and train staff and getting them onboarded to collect the data and understand the results from the previous year so we can grow from that. So from there, I will hand it over to Dion to close us out.
Question for Bonnie before I.
Thank you, Bonnie. Could I have a better understanding of Goodwill's role? Excuse me. Are they, but I know they, my mentee in Take Stock in Children was saying she was offered a position through Goodwill. I'm just curious, are they your program provider or a partner, or how does Goodwill fit in?
They're the program provider. They're the employer of the students for the summer. They have the job coaches going to training with the students. They're also working with the work site location supervisors as well throughout the summer. But we're contracted with them to be the employer and also implement the training and also the continuation of supporting those youth.
Okay. Thank you. I have other questions, but I'll wait.
No, go ahead. Chance. Go ahead.
Do you know on the financial literacy part, is that like, do they provide that soup to nuts, or do you know if they partner with anybody, or is that done through ViStar? I noticed ViStar was involved.
You guys want to speak to that?
How's it going? My name is Kyle Schramm, Program Manager with Teens of Alachua and Goodwill. So currently in the previous years, our financial literacy education has been in-house, but this year, as Deanna will kind of go over, we secured a grant with the Cities for Financial Empowerment Fund that's run out of New York. They run a summer Jobs Connect program, so they've given us the opportunity to have $20,000 in funding to run financial literacy training for our students this coming summer. We're looking at doing a peer mentoring program where we pull some students in from previous years and have them actually do peer-to-peer financial literacy, because they've seen great results with that with their other Summer Job Connect cities. Just to give you guys a little bit more background, 31 cities across the nation are now participating in the Summer Job Connect program and are receiving funding for their summer youth employment programs to run this financial literacy education. So that's something that we're looking forward to going into this year.
Some folks I know who do paid internships partner with Junior Achievement. So I was curious.
Well,
and then also there's a resource called Hands-On Banking
Yes,
that is commercial free, brand free, but that most financial institutions back. They
Okay.
have modules for
Okay. Perfect.
economic education. And then the last question, sorry.
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Are you partnering at all with Florida Ready to Work?
We are, so that is a great thing. We have just now introduced our TWA Fall Leadership Pilot Program, where students have the opportunity to work 10 hours a week for 10 weeks. The first week, half of the program, we teach them the Florida Ready to Work soft skills training. I'm just stealing the right now. So right now we have 40 students participating in that program, and we're seeing good results with that. They have actually just went through that first half of the program. Out of the 27 students that we have had take the exam so far, 23 have passed and earned that certification. The other 4 have the opportunity to retake it, and we have some more coming in this week. And then the other half of that program, we're going to have some community leaders come in and speak on their leadership journey, how they've got to where they're at, how those leadership skills help shape them, scope them, and then our students will actually engage in a community leadership project. They will identify a community issue, do some independent research on how to solve that, and also what leadership skills do they think that they need to possess in order to help solve those community
I'm
issues.
so glad, because I mean, that's paid for existing program, but they need a venue to
Most
provide, and I would say recognize the kids upon completion.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think, except for, I did learn from the Florida Chamber that we don't call them soft skills anymore. We call them, because that sounds like they're
It's not-
optional. We call them employability skills.
Okay. Good to know.
Take it or leave it. We change our language.
Well, the soft
sometimes.
skills, if you have them,
There
it
you
helps
go.
you be
Yeah.
employable. So
But-
I like the change.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Y'all like my presentation?
Didn't mean to steal.
Oh, you're fine.
Wonderful.
So I'm gonna try to plug in some areas where Cal did not cover. So this is moving forward with the expansion of teams work through the fall as presented with the Florida Readiness Work Innovation. There, he did mention a majority of the outliers I was gonna speak on, but they have 4 different modules they are working with these youth with right now: communication effectiveness, effectively conveying professionalism, promoting teamwork and collaboration, thinking critical, and solving problems. Those tests begin at Santa Fe College on the 4th of July. November. I think it's 4th of November. Sorry about that.
A lot of work in some.
Yeah. So pretty much that program Kyle kind of covered. Moving forward, we did partner with Goodwill Industry with the city's financial empowerment fund. He mentioned the 25,000. Certifies teams work a lot with coaches and financial coaches. Moving forward, Bonnie mentioned earlier about starting sooner and earlier for the summer. Goodwill will be doing that as well. There will be a 2-track program in place for 14 to 15-year-olds, first-time employability skills and first-time jobs for ages 16 to 18 to begin working at sites where they are utilizing work readiness skills and may lead them to a long-term job opportunities. That will start sooner. We're going to be employing, the goal is 260 kids for the summer of 2024. Once again, it's going to be 6 weeks of summer employment and 6 additional weeks, hours rather, Bonnie mentioned earlier, virtual employment training and end of the program, a celebration, a part of the summer teams work program. New partners that are currently being in place is going to be the Greater Gainesville Chamber and the Rural Chambers. Alachua County Career Source as well is another partner being in the works right now for the 2024 Teams Work Alachua Summer Program. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a comment. My favorite thing about this program is that you guys, we are learning how to do it as we go. And that's never a critique. If anyone tries to give you that as a critique, just brush that off, because this is how we make excellent things happen in Alachua County with this money that the voters have granted us and with our kids. And I totally appreciate that Bonnie has knocked herself out to try to get a meaningful evaluation out of this. And even the evaluation is going to go through improvements as time goes on. And I'm not worried one bit. I think this is gonna be one of our very best investments in children, and I'm really proud of the work. So thank you. Thank you, Goodwill. Thank you, everybody who found these partners, fostered these relationships. And I was here at the very beginning when there was a real rocky beginning, and it's not exactly smooth yet, but I see where it's going, and I think it's great.
Yes.
Make a, I don't know, can you see Lee and Ken, do they have any?
Yeah.
So, Member Cornell, you're recognized. Let me get.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I echo what Dr. Hart said. I was really pleased. I called a number of the employers and they were very pleased with both the minority business listings interactions as well as the supervising and coaching by Goodwill. My question is really, I guess, for both of the providers, how can you see us, and for Goodwill, it's really a question of what are other trust or other counties doing around the state to leverage some of these dollars? I know we talked about trying to make this year round, trying to have the employers maybe pay a portion. Are there recommendations that you can bring to this board to help us improve and enhance and increase the number of kids that we are able to serve without necessarily, doubling the budget or blowing the budget?
Yeah, thank you for that. Hi, everyone. My name's Michelle Clow. I'm the VP of Mission Programs at Goodwill. And just first, I got to share my excitement too, because hearing the stats and, you're in the work, it's just so exciting to see what's going on here and how the interest is growing. We had a wait list, which prompted the fall program. So yes, and to your point about how we can serve more students. So we have this fall program, kind of the leadership, little different focus. It's on leadership. Hopefully they will, since they're taking the Florida Ready to Work, become interns. And then with what we've brought with Cities for Financial Empowerment, we have a partnership with them. So they are interested in working with other counties. And so Kyle and Nikki just got back from a national conference with them of how they are bringing financial literacy to young people throughout. And so we're bringing, I think it's $20,000 to be a part of that. And then as you mentioned, we are going to be able to start sooner because the contract is starting sooner. And with that, we intend to serve hopefully over 300 students. And in working through the budget, our CEO has committed to additional funds to make sure that we're able to continue serving at least 300. What we've found, and I love your point, Dr. Hart, we learn as we go. If you can serve 200, you have to bring on maybe 220 because not everybody stays on, right? And so we're hoping to overhire so that we can definitely finish with 300 students completing the program. But in order to do that, we need additional funds. So Goodwill is putting in, we've committed to $26,000 for the program. And so this is something that's growing in the nation. It's successful in different cities and we're starting, and I think we're always tweaking. We're learning what works, what doesn't. But I think, and again, Bonnie's been great gathering all those stats. You have to have the numbers because it tells your story, but you like the personal stories too, which Kyle's prepared to share. So we are seeing, interest growing, and we want to continue building our partnerships with local businesses. Goodwill, has been in Alachua County for over 28 years. We have 2 retail stores and a Good Careers Center. And our Good Careers Center, a lot of people don't know where it is. It's next to our store on Southwest 34th Street. And we're getting ready this spring to expand that. Marcia was there this past week. It's nothing to brag about, but it is space. But in the spring, it's 2,100 square feet. Now we're going to expand it to 3,500 square feet, and we're going to locate it inside the store so it can be more mission centric. So when people come in the store, they'll say, oh, what's that up there? You know, it'll be mission services, and that's where they would come to get career services, education, services and employment. The other service we're gonna bring is our adult education program called A-STEP. And it is based off of Take Stock, where adults who want to earn a first degree or certification can come and we can help them pick their program of choice. We raise funds for the tuition, or we call it gap funding. Oftentimes people have started in a career or down the path of education, but they don't have transportation. They don't have childcare. We're going to bring that to Alachua County once our Good Career Center is up and running in its expansion. So we are always looking for ways to bring in more funding and ways to serve more students. And I'm happy that, you know, our goal for this next year is 300. I think we'll exceed that. I hope we'll exceed that. And we have developed great partnerships. We appreciate people who are already going to come to speak to the fall leadership program. We have the president of the chamber coming, and Judge Ferrero is coming. Did I say it right?
You did. That's great.
And Mr. Andrew, the superintendent, and we open that up to any of you, you know, to come and just share your story of how you became a local leader. Marcia just had the kids so engaged. They were asking her questions, but it resonated with them, you know? And so again, Kyle, I hope that we got an email, we'll send it out to you, 30, 40 minutes. So that's kind of a long-winded answer. I hope I answered your question, but we with our expansion in the county, we expect to be able to bring in more resources and more services for youth and adults.
Thank you. Is Wayne there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to hear from him as well. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good evening or afternoon. Mr. Commissioner, we just walked in, so I heard the last part of your question. Could you please, if you don't mind, ask it?
Yeah, what can we do better? How can we expand the program without necessarily increasing the budget? You know, what things would you recommend to the board?
I would recommend a program where you have businesses, corporate businesses. When we did this program years ago, it was called CLOUT, Community Linkages and Opportunities for Unemployed Teenagers. And the administration fees were paid, the costs and the expenses of putting the activity on. But the actual employer, the work sites, paid for the salaries. With our MB listings, we list Chamber of Commerce's, we list over 600 businesses, and most of those businesses just want kids that have employability skills that are taught to them, how to go through an interview, how to go and put together a resume, and the do's and don'ts. And that gives you an opportunity to mentor those kids. And so that's part of what I would like to see be brought in and put into this program.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Wayne.
Yes.
We wanted to mention that a part of the partnership that we're building.
I don't think it's on.
A part of the, I'll just keep talking to a couple. A part of the partnership that we are working to establish with the chamber is a lot of what Mr. Fields just mentioned. And so we have scheduled a meeting, and we're going to be meeting with Mr. Godet and talking about introducing Teens Work Alachua to the chamber members, not only so that we can get some of those partnerships and place youth there, but also to start facilitating that conversation with them about how they too can support Teens Work Alachua. Whether that is if they're making $12 an hour, can you start with $2 an hour? How can you supplement what it is that we are funding for this program? And so we're definitely
going to be doing that with the chamber, and can report back to you, how that actually works, but that is the route we're definitely starting to take for Teens Work Life.
I'm glad to hear that was a couple of my questions. Reverend Peterson has his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Marcia, first of all, I apologize. I didn't ask you this question earlier. So, it looks like if I'm reading the slideshow correctly, it looks like there's about $170,000 that we did not use. And so, because this program is so good, because it gives children real life experiences, on an everyday basis. Is there something, is it because we didn't have the capacity to get enough children in there? Because I thought there was a wait list. So I guess my question is, we had a little bit more money. Why were we unable to spend it on the children?
So I think it's mine. So part of that, the answer is yes. The Goodwill had hoped to hire more job coaches, and they just weren't able to do so. So some of the money was left on the table because they were trying to hire job coaches, and we were getting closer and closer to the start, and they weren't able to do that. Some of the funds we were able to use for the fall program that we're currently, the one they just talked about with the leadership program. So we were able to use some of the dollars for that. And then they came in and said, hey, because we weren't able to do what we said we were going to do, here's what we'd like to do for the fall. And we said, certainly, let's see how this program that they're doing right now is a hybrid program. So we were able to put that on to see how it would work. So that's what happened, Lee. The dollars were left over from them hoping to have a specific number of job coaches, and they weren't able to do so.
Okay, and I apologize for not asking you earlier today, but I do want to commend. I think this program is an excellent program for young adults, and I think it can go a long way in helping them. And in some cases, what it could do would be a long-term opportunity for employment. So I think there's some real opportunities. So thank you very much.
And I want to do a couple of things here. Certainly, kudos to our partners. Minority Business Listing hit it out of the park with their recruitment of our kids and our businesses this year. And so thank you, Mr. Fields, and your team for everything that you did to ensure that we got what we needed, right? And then Goodwill, thank you for taking us the rest of the way. We're still working out the kinks, y'all. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it was perfect. It wasn't. But like everything, you recalibrate. And I firmly believe as long as you have people willing to work with you, willing to sit at the table and recalibrate so that we can figure out the best way to work in partnership, then I'm always willing to do so. And so through some challenges, we were able to come up with what we think is going to be a really good plan for this upcoming year. That's having the two phases. Phase 1 for the 14 and 15-year-olds, phase 2 for the 16, 17, and 18-year-olds, because we know that every child is not going to go to college, right? So we want to take these employability skills, the training that we're giving them, find employment with some of our corporations that are here in the county, and hopefully let this be a stepping stone for our young people to jobs. I've said this a couple of times, but I sat at the table a week and a half ago with the gentleman over RTS, and he was talking about the fact that they don't have people to drive the buses. And these are jobs starting at $60,000+ a year. And I'm thinking, how wonderful would it be for us to have our young people doing some form of an internship in RTS, just to learn about, this is a possible job for you. Here's an area right here at home in your backyard, and they will pay your CDL, once you turn 18, 19, 20, 21, and you could start out making much more than a living wage. So they're all of these kinds of jobs throughout the county. And so we're going to be working with Minority Business Listing and Goodwill to ensure that both tracks are successful. So that we are going to have our young people. Some will be going off to college, to Santa Fe, to UF, or wherever, and then others are going to stay right here at home and work. So I'm excited about the possibilities. As Christy said, if we can get our chamber partners to work with us, to help us with the business piece, similar to what Mr. Fields just talked about, the sky is the limit for this program. We are steady moving forward, and there may be more bumps along the way, but we are all invested in the success of Teams Work. So I wanted to say that, and I wanted to publicly say thank you to Mr. Fields with MBL and to Goodwill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Edie Kiner. I want to share with, I don't have any questions, so much questions were asked. I had some of the same questions that Member Chance had and our colleagues that are online, and they've been answered, but I did want to share with the group. I shared this at our joint meeting with the city last week. It was kind of like, this is kind of coming up again at another time, but last week on November 6th, and I'll send the link to you so you could share it out, but on NPR's Morning Edition, they had a segment on where they're doing juvenile delinquency. So they've been kind of like having some segments the past couple of weeks, but on the 6th last week, it was a segment where it was some students, young people from the Baltimore, Maryland area, and they talked about why that they were having encounters with juvenile justice, with the criminal justice system. And the reasons that they gave is they said they were bored, and that they were turning to crime because of they needed to meet funds to meet their basic needs. And so, yeah, when Mr. Fields and I talked, when this was Teens Works was, having a summer work program was first coming, I had talked with our previous ED, and that was one of the first things I said to him is that young people learning how to connect work and money benefits our community, benefits the student, but it benefits our community, right? Because when you listen here, children is like in that 8 to 10-year-old, as young, I think it was a 10-year, I said 8 on last week, but I think it was 10 years old when I went back and listened to the story, having an encounter with the judicial system. So that's a drain on our, the court system. You've got if the family, having to try to go see about the child missing work and all that stuff. I mean, the school district, we got, so if we can, I just see this as a plus for our community, it getting better every year. The dollars, I'm hoping that businesses would invest some money so that we could grow it and have more students participate, because the trust can't employ everybody, because we'll use our whole budget up with just that. But I do like us being the convener and having started it, and us having the partners in the community that folks know. Mr. Fields is known in the community for this work, his work in this area, Goodwill with their job training. I just see a lot of positives in the 2 phases. I do like that. I'm hoping that, we can expose some students to careers that they just don't even know. I mean, RTS is one, but I told you my son's an electrician apprentice, and I think 60% they're saying of the local union, their workforce is eligible for retirement, like in their 60s. And those are fields that a lot of students just don't even think about. Like, I didn't even tell my son about it, right? I was just telling college, so, but it is something that may start to look at those things and if they have hire pre-apprentices, and it may be something that we expose some kids to. So I just see nothing but positives for our area, for our community, and with the violence and crime, our, Judge Ferraro, Judge Bullard, our former colleague here that was on the board. She can tell you just the folks are coming through. And I do think, sports and after school programs have their place, but I do think the summertime where the students and our older students have more free time, the work filling that is, I think, a plus, a win-win for our community as well as for the students and their families. So. Yes.
If the youth has minor DJJ involvement, are they still able to participate in this program, or are there things that will keep them from?
Yeah, I think there's. Yes.
Okay.
There's nothing that has that would stop them.
That's
The only and I remember this came up. I can't remember, Mr. Fields. You and I both went to the meeting at the police department where they were talking about one of the barriers was drug testing, and so we talked about, should we remove the drug testing from as one of the aspects of the program? And I shared with them. I said, I'm 50 plus. And in order to get this job, I was drug tested for the first time. The reality is, for a lot of jobs, you are going to be drug tested. And so if that's what this program is supposed to be, where we are, you know, literally preparing them for jobs, then I think we should.
Gotta leave it in place.
Yeah, it should be there. And so we decided not to remove that for this upcoming year. And then I think Goodwill said they really didn't receive any issues with any of the young people and their parents about the drug test. So we decided to leave it in, but I think that was the one thing that we kind of went back and forth about. Should we do a major change on the drug test after Mr. Fields and I sat through that meeting, and I heard, you know, a lot of the people talking. My belief is you have different programs for different kids. Every program isn't going to fit every kid. And so this might not be the program for the young person who likes to engage in certain behaviors. If you know that you want to have a job and you're going to be drug tested.
Employability skill.
Employability.
Member Cornell, is your hand up from you?
Yeah, real quick, just to reiterate what Chair Certain said, I don't know what the current stats are, but I remember last time we looked at it, every child that's touched by the juvenile justice system is somewhere a public cost of somewhere between 35 and 40,000 a year. This is obviously a great investment, and the sooner the better. So however we can expand this program or get more folks involved, like the chamber, leverage some of the stuff that Mr. Fields mentioned and Goodwill mentioned, you know, I'm in favor of. You know, we have limited funds, but however we can now take the successes of the 2 years and start to leverage private dollars, be that other grants or actual employers, I'm all for. So I'll look for some recommendations for staff to bring those back at a later date. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. There, any,
I just got a quick one.
Christy, you're gonna have a great time at the chamber, because what our local businesses want to see is a proof of concept. I think we've got one. And they will be the source of funding to make this program grow and succeed in the future. So you're on, girl. You can do this.
Thank you. And we are excited about it. Mia and I, as well as Marsha, we attend the chamber meetings. Well, they're all over the state, but they're learners to earners. And many of the chambers have great working relationships with businesses as it relates to those apprenticeships. And so we want to bring that home. And our chamber has partnered with us, BLI, and they have been working well with us. So we're excited about bringing another initiative to them. And so we're hopeful and looking forward to bringing some exciting information back.
Madam Chair.
yes,
I just want to applaud you all. I know I won't repeat everything everybody said, but just I wanted to applaud Teamworks Alachua as well as Mr. Fields and everybody else that's leaned into this. When you're talking 140, I think 14, 15-year-olds and 135 8th and 9th graders, at least what we saw in the data, that is setting that groundwork for students to continue to value work. And regardless of all the other things that were kind of subjective, that 90% retention rate speaks for itself. I think that a lot of kids are getting a lot of benefit out of this, and that $1,471 average, that helps out a lot in the summertime. You know, that's a dry period for a lot of families and everybody in our community. So hats off to you. And when I'm talking with our chamber friends as well, which I think I have a meeting this week with someone there, and I know I do. I'll be discussing this as well in our meeting. I think the rural chambers is definitely important, like you had mentioned. Again, kudos for that growth in our rural communities. Those numbers were impressive. I know some might have been a little flat, but there was some where it was quite a bit larger, and that shows to the effort. So, and the Alachua County Career Service, I think you're looking for ways to bring them on board too, and the chamber might be able to assist with how to support you in that sense as well. So thank you, everyone.
yes, Judge.
So, thinking ahead, for all these kids that have gone through this program this year and maybe next year, then are you all Are you all doing anything, sorry, I turned my microphone, but you did and I didn't turn it back. Are you all helping them connect with jobs that may go into their future, not just the companies that you're working with, but for example, I have heard anecdotally that a lot of businesses would like to hire people, restaurants, service places, and they don't have the workforce. Are you all, for the ones, I mean, you're doing such an amazing thing to give these children a foundation of work, which is what employers would want to see. Are we doing anything to hook them up with jobs that are outside of the CTAC and into the workforce, even for summer jobs? Anything like that in the works?
That's kind of where we're leaning toward right now with things like Alachua alumni program as well. I didn't mention that earlier during my presentation. And also we have some success stories that's not captured with kids being retained at work sites, work in the summer over the last 2 years.
And they're retained and being paid by the employer?
Yes.
Not, okay, that's great. I think that's important because I do think training the workforce is what you're doing is so valuable. So I'm really, you have like, I'm talking to you, but then the ladies behind you are both nodding. So it's hard to, I don't know who I'm focusing on. I'm like engaging here and then you spoke. I was waiting for her to speak and then you spoke. No, it's perfect. But thank you for all of what you've done. I think this is great.
Yeah, that's where we are. We have plans. We still have to work out all the details. As I said, Mr. Fields is going to be helping us. Potentially Mr. Fields. We still again have to work out all the details, but recruiting some of those businesses because that was how we started this discussion about phase 2.
Yeah.
And really wanting to capture kids age out of the trust at 18, but they still need jobs. Where are they going to go? What happens to them next? So if we can get 16, 17, those 18-year-olds and we have them prepared, then they would be able to potentially either stay at that same job site and or they now know how to apply for a job there. Or they know that I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Any other public comment on this item? Okay. All right, seeing none, we will go on. Our second presentation is the Children's Defense Fund, Akwambi Freedom School. Another program that I'm excited that the trust is embarking upon. Little background, I feel like kind of connected to this program also. Dr. Gwendolyn Zahara Simmons, actually, I've met her probably 10, 15 years ago, and she often tells of her participation in the civil rights movement, okay? And the freedom marches, she was a member of SNCC and all that. Well, she actually worked in a freedom school years ago as a young person like a college student. And she told me about it and she was saying, oh, they do freedom schools around. And she said there was one in Tallahassee, right? So I went to take my daughter up there and actually visited that in 2017. And, you know, but she always spoke so fondly of it and what the purpose of freedom schools was, you all know, educational opportunities for African Americans back in the 60s were not as plentiful as they are now. And with all of the violence and just turmoil of that time period, these types of programs were done to educate Blacks by other Black people, as well as white people. They participated, came around in the South and offered education support during the summer. And so I think, and so when the two ladies who from UF are coordinating this, she actually told me about them. And I was like, oh, it's funny, I just met them from somebody else, you know, and they were coming. So here we are with this here after the second year, and I think we're gonna be impressed with what they've done as well.
Well, thank you. You made it so much easier. My name is Belita James. I am one of the contract managers here at the Trust. And the purpose of this presentation today is to provide you a program overview for Freedom School for summer 2023. The original mission and purpose of Freedom School derived from the 1964 Mississippi Freedom Summer Project, a campaign to empower African Americans civically and educationally. The basis of the Freedom Schools were to keep African-American children and youth safe while providing educational experiences, provide instruction in reading, writing, humanities, mathematics, science, as well as Black history and constitutional rights. Also to encourage independent thinkers, problem solvers, and community change agents. Our program works with youth K through 12 through a research-based and multicultural program model, which includes 5 essential components: high-quality academic and character-building enrichment, parent and family involvement, civic engagement and social action, intergenerational servant leadership development, and nutrition, health, and mental health. So our day starts at 7. There's a pen daily schedule. Some of the highlights from the schedule is Harambe, which we got a chance to experience. I do say experience. It was a great experience on our site visit where they meet in the morning and they do their chants, their declarations with the staff. All the students are there in one place. Then you will see integrated reading curriculum. The integrated reading curriculum focuses on culturally and linguistically sustaining literature and is designed to support reading skills for all students and stop summer learning loss. Also, you will see DEAR, which stands for Drop Everything and Read. A time is announced and shared by everyone to emphasize the importance and joy of reading. Scholars and the staff drop everything and read silently for 15 minutes. Some of the enrichment activities were related to health and wellness, athletics, the arts, and STEM. Because representation matters, our program ensures that youth from different cultures are receiving books where their culture is represented. Last year's space was at Duval Early Learning Center. This summer, Freedom School was located at PK Young. They had a common area where we experienced Harambe before heading to their individual classrooms. Our program activities consisted of STEM activities, mindfulness, physical activities, art and culture activities, music and dance, as well as gardening. And looking at our demographics, the majority of our children were Black or African American, making up 76%. And we had slightly more females than we did males. 80% of the children were rising elementary school students. 24 different Alachua County schools were represented, some being Terwilliger, Hidden Oak, Idlewild, Glen Springs, Rollins Elementary, as well as Oakview, Westwood, PK Young, and Resilience Charter School. Our program is centered in Gainesville, reflecting that is 98% of the children served were from Gainesville and the other 2% were from Archer. The purpose of funding Freedom School is to assist in addressing the summer slide. 94% of our youth maintain and increase reading scores. This was done by providing easy access to books children and youth were interested in. Even our participants that started at a lower skill level were able to maintain their pace for improvement. Our children liked the history and reading activities. They loved the chants, the decorations, and their teachers. They enjoyed building relationship with staff and students, the field trips, of course, the extracurricular activities. What they didn't like was the lunch. They felt like it was too short. They wanted more time. They didn't have enough time playing outside, the long presentations. And they were not particular about the gun violence topic, but we have to remember the majority of the children were K through 3rd grade.
I have a question about that slide. Am I allowed to ask a question yet? Too early for the question?
Actually, would you rather wait?
Yeah, I have one more slide.
I remember where I went. Okay, I know you have a mental
The last contract for Freedom School is for summer 2024. After this staff will be making recommendations to include, to extend camp hours, partial scholarships, and to expand to the rural areas in Alachua County. This program was implemented by Dr. Shanika Coleman King and Dr. Tyron Brown.
Judge, I just want to double check. Is it that the lunch was not good, or was the lunch was too short and they wanted to say,
Oh,
the lunch was not
They
great?
didn't like the lunch choice. They
And
didn't
then
like the
they wish
choice.
the program was longer,
And they wanted
but shorter presentations.
yes.
Longer program, shorter.
Shorter presentations.
Got it. So they didn't like the food.
Yeah, they didn't, well, we've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in Other summer programs.
Children.
So this will be year 3, just because I'm.
Yes.
Okay.
Summer 24 would be.
Yeah, I'm sorry, summer
Thinking of
24 will
next
be
year.
year, yeah.
This is year 2.
Yeah. So you said that they want to expand into the rural areas. Are they wanting to recruit students from the rural area, or are they wanting to have a site in the rural areas? Do you know?
We want.
We want.
Oh,
That's our recommendation.
So long term, after summer 24, we would like to go back to them to ask them about expanding into our rural community. So we're saying that's a potential long-term goal
Okay.
for the program.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
But I'm sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
With Dr. Park's interest in iterating, which you're doing obviously with this program too, which is fantastic. Although you don't have a lot of room for improvement with the 94% retention or growth in scores. The idea to extend the day and the hours, is that driven by like parent or caregiver feedback?
Yes, it's driven by the feedback that we receive.
And I really do love the idea of a mix socioeconomically of private pay, children as well. That's community building.
And we're seeing that.
It is an echo.
We are seeing that interest, from our parents who, are interested in their children doing in the summer camp that is promoting reading and the love of reading. But they don't fit within the income guidelines, which is why you see that type of comment there. All of our summer camps, with the exception of Freedom School, because Freedom School, we funded it outside of the summer camp RFP. And so they have been able to operate a little bit differently than our other funded summer camp. They are also, and my team will correct me if I'm wrong, the summer camp that we've been intentional about specifically addressing the summer slide in this way. I'm happy to see this type of outcome and would love for us to be able to not only expand to the rural areas, but some of the other Gainesville areas also, because not everybody can get to PK Young, not everybody can get to the east side of Gainesville, which is where it was initially held. And so there's a lot of great about this program that I would love for us to be able to impact more lives than the number of those kids that are just enrolled in this one location. There's a lot of training.
It's a lot of training. That's a lot.
That they are.
And you can't charge for their program.
Exactly.
You can't. That's Freedom School.
And they go to the training that's required by the
Tennessee.
children to be able to implement it. So it has to be implemented
Their way.
Well, that's great. For integrity of the program. It is.
And there's no kind of after camp program for parents who work till 5 o'clock? They have to get their kid at 3?
That's the challenge. I told them that when they were at Duval. I was like, you can't go the whole day. I mean, it's an excellent program. I didn't get by this summer here, but last summer I was by, and it would have been a challenge for me if I worked full time, to have it in the summer because you're starting it there. But I guess trying to get after school staff, to do that. But hopefully we'll be able to figure something out with that. But
maybe the girls' place could pick them up.
I think one of the models that is how they staff it. I mean, it's not just childcare. I mean, when I went this summer, they had like 3 students who were starting medical school in the fall. I mean, just a lot of the careers paths, choices that their staffing has is just phenomenal. It is, it really is really motivational.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to visit.
They would
wanna
love,
visit.
they would love for you all to visit.
I wanna come to the 8:30. I don't want breakfast or lunch, but I wanna come to.
You could bring breakfast.
It's really good, honestly.
It still brings
Start of the day is really, yeah.
Yeah, the Harambe had me, I was like, I can work
do
forever now.
Great.
I just wanted to make a quick comment about Children's Defense Fund broadly. Marion Wright Edelman is a national treasure and should be all of our heroine, or whatever you want to call her. And as soon as I heard you were coming to Gainesville, I was thrilled. And I just have a tiny anecdote. When I worked for Senator Jeff Bingaman of New Mexico, my most cherished photograph is the one of me and Marion Wright Edelman when she came to visit his office.
Questions? All right, any, member Cornell, member Peterson, any questions or comments?
Great program. So happy to see the results. Hope we can continue to do it and more of it. You know, these summer programs can be so impactful for such the early age child, that, you know, we just got to keep doing more of it. So really, really happy with the results. And thank you, Tina, for your leadership and really driving a lot of this.
I don't see member Peterson. Did we lose him?
No, I don't, y'all said it all and said it very eloquently.
Oh, he's there.
Okay. All right. Any citizen input? Anyone? Okay, all right, we'll scoot on then, if none. All right, Christie, for old business or after school funding allocations?
For your information, we provided you all with a list of the after-school programs that have been funded, contracts executed for our after-school RFP. This was just to provide you with that information, where we landed after contract negotiations. I also know that there was a request to include the number of youth that each provider is working with. And so this is just for your information, so that you all have that.
Okay, thank you. Any, board member comments or questions for staff? Any citizen input? Okay, all right, seeing none.
You know, are you a board member?
Yes. Member Cornell, you're right.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. So, board, I just want to let you all know that at our last county commission meeting, I brought up the idea of expanding the mentoring program in conjunction with the county and the city's gun violence efforts. And Chair Prizia and I think Commissioner Duncan Walker are going to be meeting with President Brody, and they were going to loop Marcia Ewan. She was going to call you and ask for you to attend that meeting as well. I also told them to look for a budget request in this upcoming budget year of 102,000. Didn't get any pushback, and so hopefully you can attend that meeting, Marcia, and then we can see how the county can help expand some of those efforts.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm not there today.
Okay.
We're gonna, since you push your paper to get us some money, we won't forget it.
Okay, all right.
All right, so, member Peterson, are you good? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a yes.
I'm good. Just took me a little while to find the mute button or unmute.
Okay. All right, our next, item, Christie, are you done? You good? Okay, all right, so, our next item is, employee travel and conference attendance policy. And I don't have a name by that, but I'm gonna take it that that's you.
Well, it's Diana and I'll kick it off and then I'll turn it over to Diana.
Okay.
You do that? So we realized that we needed to really look at our travel, employee travel policy. We had begun to do a little bit of travel, and there was some confusion in our policy in terms of state and federal guidelines and which do we follow, and specifically what is per diem versus what isn't per diem. And so we reached out, and Diana, you correct me if I misspeak here. We reached out to some of our sister trusts
to see, what kind of policies did they have? What made sense, and then what was, allowable in statute. And I'm gonna kick it over to Diana to add anything else here.
So I guess the purpose was to expand on not just what we provide, but was expected of the employee in return. And to make our policy better, which was very vague, is what we were hearing from staff. We collected, as Madam Kiner said, all the policies from our sister agencies who would share, and we picked and chose all the good things that we found and put this together. And I believe it's in great detail and expands on everything. And that's where we are.
All right.
Madam Chair, Lee has this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this time staff knows about my question. So I had a question on the meals portion. I didn't understand the need for item number 3 because it looks like it's already covered within item number 2, essentially is what it boils down to. That is on page 290, I believe.
So per diem is what we've seen other people do is pay the $80 a day in quartiles. If in fact you are not having your hotel room paid by the company. So instead you would get an $80 per diem. And that's what we've seen, not just in the statute, but other sister agencies provide.
And while I recognize the explanation, it looks like, as I said previously, that if it's just meals, that it's covered in item number 2. And and I will be perfectly upfront, y'all. I squeak when I walk, according to Tina, not the chair, my bride. And of course, Tina, the chair, may say the same thing. I'm not sure.
She does. Yep.
So, but it doesn't, it doesn't seem like, it seems like it's already covered in item number 2.
So Member Pinkerton, I saw number 2 as being if you stayed overnight and you had hotel, that you would get that. But number 1, if it's just a day trip and you're going and there's no hotel stay, is where I saw the other one.
Where you're going and staying with friends.
Or you're going to stay with a friend. Yeah, you don't have a hotel.
Or you're sharing a room with somebody, and so you're not having to expense the expense.
Is that all of that the same? And so are we seeing, like, one is for if you have a hotel and you're staying over, you get a certain amount for meals.
Right.
The other is if there's no lodging expense being charged to the trust,
Right.
but you're going for the day for training or something.
Or you stay
It's still at night, but you just don't have any lodging.
Correct. Paid for by the trust.
Madam Chair, I recognize the explanation. However, a meal is a meal, whether it's in a hotel or whether you're staying someplace else. I mean, it's covered. But I'm not going to I'm not going to fall on the sword on this one. But it just seems like it's unnecessary.
It's actually more economical if there isn't a hotel cost, and I think that's where the per diem kicks in. Because we at the state get per diem on like our travel home day, because we don't have an additional night stay at a hotel. And so the per diem is what we're paid out. There were things missing or different than what we have at the state. Like for the state, we have a cap on how much you can spend at a hotel, and I didn't see a cap on hotel in this. Like for us, it's $225 a night is max. And if you get a hotel room that's higher than that, you have to pay the difference. Was that something you all discussed on having a max?
No, and it wasn't. I don't remember seeing that in any of the ones that came back to us. Did you see that?
And it wasn't an issue for us because there are conferences where the hotels are expensive, where the conference is being held. So if you want to stay where the conference is being held, that not just for convenience, but because maybe,
You may not get a car, you may just go there and just stay there, so.
right,
And the state no longer allows Class C meals. So I was surprised, I just haven't seen anybody claim Class C in a while. We are allowed A and B, but Class C meals are no longer allowed. And so, like, we can't claim meals on day travel, even if we go and come back. So if I drive to Jacksonville, but I drive back home that night, I don't get to claim any meals for that. So it's just something, I'm just explaining the differences between what I read here and versus what we have for the state. I think Lee would appreciate the state's stance, because the state is very,
I guess too,
very fruitful.
with the Class C, what you're saying, the per diem, as you have it here, the $80 versus a meal. Are you getting mileage when you're going for the day, even if you don't have hotel?
yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you get
mileage.
mileage. I think everyone's gonna have to eat at McDonald's.
For that rate,
Yeah, I mean,
you never get reimbursed.
Yeah.
Especially at where most of these conference hotels are, you can't get.
No, you can't get breakfast for $6.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, our organization moved away from a per diem for various reasons, but one is that most hotels we stay in have breakfast, so we don't worry about that. So maybe that helps make up for not having to be at McDonald's. I join, Member Pinkason being a little confused by number 3, because I mean, sometimes I stay at my daughter's in Tampa, or I have an employee who has a parent in Tallahassee, and that's just the way
You do.
yeah, that's what I do. But I'm not dying on that sword either. I would suggest under mileage, number 2, that she just ended at the current IRS rate, because it changes all the time.
Right.
It's 65.5 right now, so I don't think I would, like, you could shack at the beginning of every month.
Well, that's some of why this came about, because it would change, and we kind of said what the other ones say, IRS or state.
So we want to stay at the 65 cents and have the option to change it if it goes up or down, so that we're not constantly looking at the internet to see if the IRS changed their rate today or yesterday or whatever. So we're giving the CEO the option to decide whether or not we're going to go with the up or down, but leave it at 65 where the IRS rate is currently.
But wouldn't it, does it change more than once a year in a calendar year?
Yes, and like when we had escalating gas, you know, it was a significant difference. I think someone on my team gets notices. I don't know, maybe she just hangs out on the IRS website. But I understand the pain point.
Sure.
But
I had one more, and and again, there's just differences. I'm not saying that your policy isn't correct, but like for the state, we can't claim meals or hotel unless our travel is over 50 miles from our headquarters or our home. And I didn't see anything in I saw if you are out of the county, which could be 5 minutes outside the county at a meeting, could get reimbursed for meals versus. So is that part of our policy at all, that you have to be a certain distance, or it was just anywhere outside the county could be claimed for meals and hotel?
It was outside of the county.
Okay.
All right, guys, anybody want to offer a motion for this? We're gonna accept it, any changes? Lee, now's your chance if you want to modify, item, paragraph 3 under E3, amendment for E3.
Well, 2 changes. I would recommend, and that we approve it with the exception of on the per diem item number 3, and on the the mileage thing, after the 0.65 put per mile or something along those lines. So there's something there, and that's it. They really did a good job, and it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but y'all did a good job on this.
Lee, would you add the IRS rate? So if it goes up and down,
I thought that it was in there when I read it before, that it said, that-
No,
yes, then I would allow, yes, that would be part of it.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion. Y'all clear on what he said? We'll eliminate paragraph 3 per diem, and then we'll add the 65 cents or whatever. What was that?
Per mile.
Per mile. Okay, 65 cents per mile.
But is your interpretation that, so this provision A is saying, like, a notice goes out to all staff that says IRS rate went up or down, but it,
No, it
They
was,
adjust it every year, I think. So we just have to.
we're
just
trying to
double
hold
check.
it.
it's mid-year.
We're trying to hold it for the year at.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the
0.65,
year,
So we
then
don't have to keep making changes to it.
Wouldn't it be good if we put something in like, or whatever, if the prevailing IRS rate goes up, we would pay that? So that way you don't have to bring us back this, like maybe
Well,
at the
that's
end of the year, like if we're gonna go on either
Executive
fiscal
director.
year or quarter or calendar year, we can say that. In the event IRS establishes lower increase
Is
rate
it-
on the fiscal
am I
year, the
missing
rates
it?
established will be
The last
by the
sentence.
executive director. Okay,
Yeah.
well, there it is.
The
That's
rates
it.
established will be
All right.
reviewed by the executive
All
director.
right, there we
to-
go. We got that. So we'll add eliminate paragraph 3 and add the 65 cents per mile. And that motion has been made by member Pinkerton and second by member Cornell. Is there any public input? Any other board discussion?
We'll check your cholesterol when you get that.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. So those are that policy.
Stuff I like to eat.
Item 16 is our
Calendar.
the calendar.
So, Madam Chair, we need to approve our 24 calendar. And I want to bring to you all's attention a couple of items on this list. January, as we already noted, January is going to be a busy month for the trust with our move and everything. So I'm recommending that we skip the January meeting to allow staff to focus on our move. And our first meeting of the 24 calendar year would be our February meeting. So that's item 1. March, spring break is actually going to fall. I believe this is the school system district spring break, the week of the 13th, which would be when we would normally meet. So we are asking you all to decide if you'd like to meet on the 4th of March or the 18th of March, rather than that week.
I haven't, Mr. Andrew, you have the calendar for 24, 25 already? I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. You got the website. It's on the website? Okay, all right.
Yes.
So I would prefer the 4th versus the 18th, but that's just me. Anyone else have anything?
I'd be so I wouldn't be able to attend that. I could
So
do the 18th, but I
All
couldn't
right.
do the 4th.
I mean, I'm
I'm gonna be out.
okay. 18th work for you?
Anything works.
What about the rest of you guys?
they both work, Tina.
They both work for you?
It would help if I looked in the right year.
They're flying by. It's funny.
Just keep in mind, the 18th means we're literally 2 weeks from the 8th, but we did that this year though, from the 18th. I mean, the April meeting, so.
All right. Like I said, I would prefer the 4th. I don't have a calendar for next year, but I've got a couple dates in mind that I'm thinking the 18th. But I'm gonna do what's best for the group.
Well, if I'm the only one on the 4th that can't, I mean, as long as you have a quorum, I'm
Right.
So far, everybody.
So
else?
let's try the
Looks
4th.
like the
I could
4th.
do either.
The 4th.
Ken and Lee.
Ken said he's either one.
Oh, he says, okay.
I'm retired, so y'all tell me when I'm supposed to be there.
All right, 4th.
Let's target the 4th. Okay.
Thank you. July, I am recommending that you all take July off and vacation.
Okay,
Yeah.
done.
I'm trying to hopefully our school calendar will work out and we can do something like that.
And then if you will jump with me to November, our meeting date is Veterans Day in 24. So again, we'll need to determine, would you like to meet on the 4th or would you prefer the 18th?
If you could, if the 4th works, that gives you more time. Otherwise, you back to that scenario.
Before we decide on November, just informationally, October 14th is Columbus Day / Indigenous People Day, and I don't know if that matters to anyone. But a lot of
Kids will be out of school.
potentially. But sometimes it's
No, not in this county. They
No.
go to school on Columbus Day
Mhm. Correct.
here.
But some state buildings are, state and county buildings are closed. I don't know. I don't think we're closed.
I don't think I'm.
But Christie says federal military is.
Yeah, federal military with the state and county.
But
Okay.
that happened this year because you were like, I thought it was on holiday.
Okay. Well, why don't we,
Both of those are fine with me, Tina. 4th or the 18th of November.
4th, okay,
I'm also fine with either.
the 4th, okay, so let's leave the October and then we do the 4th of November. And then,
They said the 4th or the 18th, 4th that we're talking about?
November 4th. Right?
Sounds like the
Yeah,
4th.
November 4th.
Great.
And
Okay.
then December you have as the 9th.
December is the 9th. We'll stay with our second Monday.
Okay,
And then that second meeting in September, I'm learning my lingo here.
Yes.
It's a trim thing.
correct,
We
right.
have 2 meetings in September and right now it looks like the 11th and the 15th have already been selected by the library.
Yeah, we have, the school
So-
board has not set it yet.
Yeah,
I've asked about it because I was trying
We
to,
looked for yours
Yep.
and it wasn't out yet, but we'd like to go ahead and move with our calendar. And then if we have to come back to you
right,
and shift around, we will for the September date.
yeah. All right, and we have December 9th, okay. All right,
Madam Chair, you ready for an attempt at a motion?
Lee, would you say that again, please?
I said, are you ready for an attempt at a motion?
I am ready for motion, yes.
Okay, approve the CTAC calendar for the year 2024, eliminating a meeting in January and July. And the rest will be the yellow, which would be, let me go through this, the 12th of February, the 4th of March, the 8th of April, 13th of May, 10th of June, no meeting in July, August the 12th, September 9th and 23rd, October the 14th, November the 4th, and December the 9th.
Second.
Thank you, Member Pinkelson, second by Member Cornell. Any public input? Any board discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
It was just brought to my.
I see you.
Okay.
I was gonna.
Okay.
I was gonna get it. All right. I'll get it before. Let's do the interlocal agreement. Okay.
And then lastly, as I mentioned earlier, we need to approve our interlocal with the county. The county is our partner. They provide our IT, our phones. We have Bob, courtesy of our interlocal, and trust staff receive county benefit. So if we could get you all to approve our interlocal with the county again, we would appreciate it. And as I said, I will be bringing back an amendment to add some additional services.
All right, the motion?
Move approval.
Second?
I'll second.
Second.
All right, thank you. For motion by Member Pinkerton, second by Member Twombly. Any citizen input? Any board discussion, any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, thank you, motion passes. So, Bonnie, you want to give us our SAMUS update? And you all have any questions for Bonnie on Santa's? I don't see any, so thank you for the update. All right, anyone here in the room have anything for? Any questions? I don't see any. So before we go to board member comments, I saw Dr. Candace King. She was is the coordinator for our Freedom School, and she came in after we got done with that item. Dr. King, would you like to, I'm gonna give you a space now if you want to come and address this, but we all spoke warmly. Everybody is impressed with the program and we want you all to do more. So we committed you all to expand that.
Hello, everyone. I really just wanted to be here in the event that folks had any questions for us that we could answer, but we had a tremendously amazing summer last year. Our numbers grew and we had a ton of folks on the wait list. Right now, one of the things that we would love to do is sort of do some seed planting to see if there are other organizations that would be interested in hosting a Freedom School at their site. And we could support them in doing that so that we could offer programming to more young people across the city. We also expanded to level 4s. So we brought in high schoolers this summer, which was really great. A lot of sites really struggle with getting in that population and they had a great time too. So we're gearing up for next summer already. Really trying to think about staffing and things like that, but yeah. We also saw great growth in the students' reading scores this past summer, and we would like to offer some more support to the staff to get even better at facilitating the curriculum. So to make sure that we're executing the curriculum with the utmost fidelity. And so those are some things we're looking at improving for the upcoming year.
I have a quick question for Dr. King. Did any of your books get banned?
No, I think particularly because Freedom School is sort of not housed under the jurisdiction of some of that law, that there wasn't any sort of book banning for the curriculum. In fact, one of the books that the students read was about book bans. That was neat.
So in the books that you use, you haven't seen of any other counties in Florida that have said they have caused them to be removed? You may not have.
I did not check. Yeah. But my guess would be that, you know, just given the nature of, we read books that are by and about minoritized and diverse communities. And, you know, given the current landscape, I would guess that some of those books are no longer in schools. And so I think that's why it's great for them to have the opportunity to get exposed to the books. And parents know, right? We talk to them about what their kids will be reading. So these are things that they approve of and that the kids enjoy.
I just noticed on the Children's Defense Fund website that they were recommending ways that communities could get important books into children's hands if they had been banned in school.
So we're excited for the summer to come. Any other board members have any questions for Dr. King? I'm not sure. I'm thinking when she said they're looking for partner agencies, maybe the YMCA or the William A. Stokes, there's something out there. I don't know in the rules.
Oh, Micanopy.
That's William A. Stokes. Yeah. They're out there. They are one of our providers for summer and they have students out there.
Yeah. The process starts in like September, October to apply for one. So it would be like a year-long process to sort of but to start the conversation with folks.
Student population wise, the growth in Newberry is huge. Is that, I mean, I'm just wondering about Newberry area for sort of pull from Alachua too.
That was part of our discussion about how we could move it. Shift and have some in the outlying communities, and that's exactly what we were talking about. So it's good to hear kind of how we would start that process for the upcoming for 25.
And the swag community, I know, was one that we had been hearing about too, as a space that has a lot of need.
You, for the training that happens, is it just you and Dr. Brown who are going through the training, or do you have any other possible folks that you could train with the idea of deploying them?
Yeah, so we do our own sort of local training, but then we do get trained by the national staff, although because we finished our second year, I don't know that we're gonna be doing any more training with the national staff, but if we were to bring on new staff,
Okay.
we are looking for some other folks to join us. I know we've talked to some people locally. We would love to get some Gainesville natives as a part of the staff. So, and if they were to come on as a new person, they would then get trained. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. We're, all of us are proud to partner with you. We're glad that the trust is able to partner with you all to do this good work.
Yeah, we appreciate the support. Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
We also want to come visit next summer.
Oh, come on by. It's a magical place.
But we won't be eating lunch. We heard that. Let's get breakfast.
Bring McDonald's.
Yeah, yeah, they actually, and extended the program, I think expanding the hours, I think that was something what came up in the survey, I don't know.
We did that the first year. We had some programming after the 3:30 timeframe, but staffing and our staff, they are giving 200% all day.
They're exhausted.
They are exhausted by the end of the day. So, you know, so we would have to think about staffing if we were to continue to extend the hours. So, yeah.
Right, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're at board member comments, and Lee, board member comments on here 2 times, so I think they want 2 rounds. You want to start us off?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Ken, Ken looked like he was like not feeling so good.
Yeah, I gave mine earlier in between the agenda items, sorry.
Okay, you good?
Just the update on the mentoring stuff.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, you know what? That's what, I'm sorry. So general public comments, please forgive me.
Hey, good evening, guys. How are you guys? My name is David Roundtree. I'm with the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Madam Chair, thank you for having us. Board of Directors, thank you. Staff, fellow nonprofit partners and community leaders and people who are watching online right now. Thank you guys for having us. Wanted to take this opportunity to thank you guys for the work that you guys are doing here in Alachua. With the Boys and Girls Club, we have really ingrained ourselves with the Children's Trust of Alachua County. From different things where we're serving 23% of the kids that you guys are serving right now with the funding for the after school program. And in addition to that, we are looking at different opportunities and programs like the Lights On after school program where we are able to participate with you guys on as well. If you're in the consent agenda, you guys approved a emergent fund for us, which has been huge. We merged and acquired Alachua County in 2020. For us, we took on a roofing project that we had no idea how bad that truly was. It prevented programming within our program and within our school or within our club. Those funds came to fruition and helped us put a roof on our building last month, which was just immaculate. We no longer have leaks in the building. We are able to keep the kids in a safe environment where they're receiving education as well as a fun experience. So on behalf of our board of directors, our local advisory board, our staff, but most importantly, the kids. Seriously, thank you guys for what you guys have done for the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. I would love to invite you guys out to our middle school football championship night tomorrow over at our Tilts at Northwest 51st Street. We have games at 6 o'clock and 7:30, but it's a culmination of football games that have been taking place for the last 2 months here in Alachua County with the Boys and Girls Club, and we'd love to have you guys out. Thank you again, David Roundtree, Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida.
Thank you, Mr. Roundtree. So I might take you up on that football game thing instead of going to a rezoning public hearing, but we.
Good evening again, Christy Arrington from Girls Place. I didn't jump quick enough with Teens Work Alachua to make a comment, but with the opportunity to interview teens, we would be open to paying part of their cost. We are part of the success story in that we stole a teen from Teen Works Alachua from one summer to the next because we were just really thrilled with the work that she did. I'll also comment that it does feel like you're still nurturing these teenagers in the sense that when they're separated, they're much more successful than when they come together because they want to socialize at times. And so it's a really great opportunity and we would be willing to invest in that way. Let us know when you're ready to move. If we can help, we'd love to help. If you're open to.
You're on.
Absolutely. Please let us know. And then the other thing, hopefully, because you guys are miracle workers, I have asked year after year if the school system and maybe RTS would be willing to train after-school providers to drive buses. The reason twofold. One, I'm finally out of a bus, so I'm gonna knock on wood. But the other part is a used bus is cheaper than like the 21 passengers that we transport in. They're safer than a 15 passenger, and you have after-school providers who want to help more with transportation. And so there's an opportunity to partner in one of those ways to train to drive the bigger buses. And the school system gave buses away, and some of them feel like they're sitting in parking lots. And so if that was an opportunity to have a local resource, an affordable resource to get a CDL, I think that would be a good move for all of us. And the last thing, put my taxpayer hat on. As a taxpayer, I fully support parental leave. And if this organization can be a model for other nonprofits and model for the community that we're investing in our children and our families, I don't think that you're going to have a lot of negative feedback from taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Christy.
Thank you, Christy. Any other citizens?
I was just gonna say, we should be bringing you back a recommended policy at the December meeting on the parental leave. We just wanted to gather a little bit more information.
Any other citizen input? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board for board member comments or requests. Okay, we'll have anything. We've all kind of talked it all. All right, well, if we don't have any other board member comments or requests, our next meeting date will be Monday, December 11th at 4 here at this location. We got a couple more meetings here. Well, actually one more meeting, just December, because January is canceled. I mean, not canceled, but rescheduled because y'all moving. I'm not offering to help. I mean, I'm sorry. I would, but I can't lift the whole lot, honestly. So if there's nothing else, we're adjourned. Thank you all. All right, thank you.
Thanks for letting me participate.
All right.